The movie opens with Lisa lying on the road when a driver approaches and offers her a ride. She eventually accepts. Inside the car, the driver, Adam, introduces himself as a night watchman, describing his job as the most tedious imaginable. He asks Lisa several questions and learns that she had a daughter who should be turning 9 today. While talking, Lisa hears a description of a killer on the radio that matches Adam's appearance. Short hair and a cross tattoo on his right hand. The car suddenly stops and everything goes black. Lisa wakes up in a ventilation shaft, disoriented and unsure of how she got there. She is wearing a fitted bodysuit and an odd, luminous watch, which she uses to scratch at the metallic vents as she tries to escape. Her screams and cries fill the space until she realizes it's futile. After a period of silence, she hears a rumbling and scratching noise coming from outside. As Lisa is about to investigate the noise, a small passageway opens. The passage closes immediately behind her as she enters, and she starts crawling forward, hoping to find a way out. From a distance, she notices the traps designed to keep her inside, but she spots a narrow entryway beside them, just large enough to fit her body. After squeezing through, she finds herself in a lit area where the floor is closing in on her, compressing her into an even smaller space. Fortunately, she manages to climb out in time. While Lisa takes a moment to rest, the luminous watch on her wrist begins to alarm, signaling the start of a countdown. As she continues, she encounters a charred corpse wearing the same type of watch, blocking her path. Although initially repulsed, she manages to move the body aside. With only 2 minutes left before the next deadly trap activates, she crawls further, only to find herself trapped again by a gate. A series of lasers emerge from the top of the vent, and a safe space opens up. Lisa rushes inside just as a glass door shuts behind her, securing her from the laser burns as the countdown reaches 0. Once the fire subsides, the safe space ejects her back into the small hole, which immediately starts closing in again. This time, Lisa pauses, resigned to her fate as she gets squeezed. Suddenly the floor stops moving and the countdown starts again. Overwhelmed, she breaks down, but eventually regains her composure. As she moves while lying down, she discovers a pool of water. She takes a drink with her hand and then dives in, hoping to find her way to the next safe area. The water flows into the vent, filling it again, and she encounters another drowned corpse. Despite the grim sight, she manages to escape. Meanwhile, Lisa hears a pleading voice echoing through the ventilation labyrinth. She follows the sound and finds herself near a vat of green acid. Carefully bracing herself against the walls of the vent to avoid falling in, she accidentally dips her right knee into the acid, wounding herself and crying out in pain. Despite the agony, she continues to follow the voice until she discovers a man who seems completely out of his mind, terrified and claustrophobic. As time runs out, the gates between them open, revealing that they are in a burning trap with a safe spot. They both scramble to reach it, and Lisa manages to get there first, blocking the entrance to keep him out. The man grabs her leg, but as he struggles, the revolving glass door slices his hand. Lisa realizes with horror that the man is Adam, the driver who offered her a ride, as she recognizes the tattoo on his hand, and the odd watch on his wrist causes him to burn alive when the timer reaches 0. A short while later, a strange skull emerges from the ceiling of the safe spot, adding to the terror of her situation. But it tends to her wound and gives her a vision through a tube, revealing that Adam had tried to stab her in the vehicle. The vision also shows that they were both abducted and put to the test by someone unknown. The strange skull on the ceiling then retracts, and the safe space ejects Lisa once again. Examining Adam's broken arm, Lisa notices 3 symbols on the back of his watch: a diamond, a cross, and another diamond. She tries to decipher their meaning when a vast blade fan trap suddenly activates, forcing her to flee while cutting Adam's hand in pieces. Continuing forward, Lisa encounters a deformed monster that pursues her relentlessly. She manages to escape into a narrow corridor, where she crawls through suffocating vents. Suddenly she hears a humming sound that sounds like her dead daughter's voice. The sound leads her to a larger chamber where she can stand. In the chamber, Lisa enters a projection room and is confronted with flashbacks of her life, including the traumatic memory of her daughter's death as she jumped out of a window trying to reach for a toy. The monster interrupts her, crawling across the top of the projection room as it slowly closes in on her again. Desperate to escape, she reaches a vent filled with barbed wire. As she pushes through the wire, she sustains severe injuries. However, time is running out. The monster enters a safe spot, and just as Lisa fears it's the end, the floor collapses, leaving her injured and back at the beginning of the labyrinth. Feeling defeated, Lisa writes down the symbols in her blood, hoping that if anyone else is abducted, they might find the notes. The skull from earlier reappears, healing her wounds and urging her to try again, or it will euthanize her. Initially, Lisa chooses euthanasia, but as the strange healer prepares to inject her, she realizes that the symbols might be clues indicating which paths to take. With renewed resolve, she stops the injection and allows the skull to heal her wounds. Retracing her steps, she approaches the acid tank again. This time, she melts the watch's locking mechanism, revealing new symbols on it, 2 crosses and a diamond. Using the symbols as her guide, Lisa successfully navigates through the first 3 paths. Suddenly, the crawling monster appears, barreling towards her. As she reaches the 4th path, the labyrinth twists, and she finds herself in an upside-down vent. Struggling to move, she distracts the beast by tossing her beeping watch into another vent, leading the monster away. Realizing she threw the timer in the right direction, she heads back to retrieve it once the monster is gone. Approaching the 5th passage, Lisa discovers an entryway resembling a womb. She hesitates before entering the bloody, sticky entrance and approaches a wall to inspect it. When she touches it, a silhouette of a giant 3-fingered hand reaches out to her. It seems there are enormous creatures outside the room. Feeling a sudden connection, Lisa is filled with a sense of relief and hope. She follows the silhouette into the next room. In the new room, Lisa finds the countdown watch and spots the monster on the other side of the room. With the timer running out again and the monster in pursuit, Lisa manages to enter a safe space. Unfortunately, the vent doesn't emit fire, so the monster isn't roasted or killed. As the glass door slides open, the safe space ejects Lisa once more. She braces her feet against the monster's head, pushing back with all her strength until she eventually crushes its skull. Continuing forward, Lisa reaches the final passage, which requires her to turn right. As she is about to enter the right vent, she sees a vision of her daughter, Nina, appearing from the left vent. Nina speaks to her, seemingly trying to make Lisa feel guilty and lead her down the wrong path. Despite the emotional confusion, Lisa realizes that Nina is just an illusion. She apologizes and chooses to proceed on the right track. Nina follows her, and, in a comforting gesture, hugs Lisa. The child's embrace brings Lisa some solace, and Nina tells her that everyone is proud of her, and that someone is watching over her. Nina vanishes from her arms, leaving Lisa to continue her journey. Lisa enters the final passage and sees a skylight at the end. However, she faces 3 blades that slice down consecutively. She carefully times her movements and successfully passes 2 of the blades, but the 3rd blade slices off her toe. Despite the injury, she reaches the end of the passage and sees what she assumes is daylight. She smiles with relief, believing her ordeal is almost over. To her dismay, the light turns out to be a projection screen. Exhausted and injured, Lisa realizes she can no longer move forward and feels overwhelmed with despair, believing her suffering will never end. Just as she braces herself for the imminent lasers, the ceiling suddenly opens up to a bright light and Lisa is lifted out. She awakens unharmed on a rocky riverbank with a waterfall. As she takes in her surroundings, Nina appears beside her, bringing a sense of peace and closure. Lisa, disoriented, asks Nina if she has died. Nina gently explains that her body did indeed die multiple times, but there is nothing to fear because she is now safe. Alien in form of Nina explains to her that Adam, who was a murderer, attacked her, resulting in her death. They only took her when she died on Earth, intending to test her and others to determine who could survive and repopulate the new world. And that's where the film ends. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video. Thanks for watching.